Islam. You are live with Brother P. Milesville, Grand Sheik for Temple number 13. Thank you for joining this study session today, titled Freedom. The name of this, the title of this subject matter is Freedom. And so bear with me, give me a few moments here. I wanted to pull up to the screen the Constitution. It's coming from law.cornell.edu. And I wanted to pull up Article 4, Section 4 to start us off. And to get our brains thinking in the right capacity. You know, it's like exercise, a warm-up. So we just doing an examination of the American Constitution for the United States, for the Republic United States of North America. In reference to the 1787 Constitution, adopted, that comes from the Moors, the Muslims, the Moorish Americans, which I'm Moorish American. I'm a descendant of Moroccans and born in America, or descendant of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern, southwestern shores of Africa, our dominion. And we'll get into the subject matter of dominion and the source and measure that we study from is the Holy Quran, Circle 7 of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father God, Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from the sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father God, Allah. Now, before, we dive into this, we will, I will say, we'll give Moorish American prayer. And so for all of those that can rise and face the east, it's 2 on the right, 5 on the left. Your feet is at a 45-degree angle. So repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. And now, I'd like to give honors to everybody who is joining us today. I'd like to give praises to Allah and honors to his prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and Noble Drew Ali. I'd like to give honors to Brother Marcus Garvey, the forerunner to the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and founder, Noble Drew Ali, who is founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'd like to get honors to all of the past Supreme Grand Advisors and moderators, Brother C. Kirkman Bay, Sultan and Colonel, Brother F. Nelson Bay, Brother J. Blakely Bay, Brother R. Love Eel, the past Grand Sheik, past and or former Grand Sheik, and moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated. I'd like to give honors to Brother R. Jones Bay, the present Grand Sheik, and moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated, and to his staff. I'd like to give honors to all of our ancestors. I'd like to give honors to my staff, my chairman, Sister S. Nellie Bay, Her Highness, and our assistant Grand Sheikess, Sister E. C. Bay, Her Royal and Divine Highness, and to myself, the Grand Sheik of Temple number 13, and to all of our members. I'd like to give honors to all of our members here at Temple number 13. I'd like to give honors to Brother W. Parker Bay, who was legendary with his work in the institutions, uplifting the Moors that are incarcerated in those institutions. And so we give honors to Brother W. Parker Bey. We give honors to Brother W. Nunley Bey, our past emeritus and national mufti of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and all of his works his divine works that he was able to achieve and accomplish here at Temple number 13, Brother W. Nunley Bey. I give honors to all the past administrators and executive rulers of Temple number 13. Brother G. Cook Bey, Brother I. Cook Bey, Sister M. Cook Bey, these three great patriarchs and matriarch, and one matriarch who walked and talked with the Holy Prophet and were his friends all the way to the end, and are my great grandparents. So I give honors to Brother G. Cook Bey and Sister M. Cook Bey, who are my great grandparents, who had a chance to be married by the Prophet, be taught by the Prophet. My great grandfather was the first mufti of the Moorish Science Temple of America in the United States of America. And so I give honors for that great legacy and lineage and inheritance that I have been able to receive. And here I am as the Grand Sheikh of Temple number 13 that was originally chartered by Prophet Noble Drew Ali to my great grandfather and reissued under Brother R. Love Ill in 1996. Now again, relinking ourselves to the family of nations. I give honors to the two flags combined, the Moorish flag and the flag of the United States of America, which we know without a shadow of a doubt this government is not founded in any sense on the Christian religion, as it has in itself no character of amity or tranquility against the laws, religion of Muslim men, and has never warred against any Mohammedan nation. And we know the Moorish Science Temple of America derived its power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad. The Moorish Americans are descendants of the Moors, and the Moors, who were the ancient Moabites, the founders of the holy city of Mecca. So the Moorish Science Temple of America is Mecca. We give honors to what the great prophet, the holy and divine prophet Noble Drew Ali, has founded for us to build upon this great nation, the return of this great nation. I give honors to our Moorish oils, teas, and compounds, and our other holistic healing programs that keeps the Moorish Americans strong, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy, and physically healthy. I give honors to our divine charter, which represents our divine right, our declared divine right, secure under the First Amendment of the Constitution, etc., to practice Islamism, which is to teach the lessons of Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and Noble Drew Ali. This is the only institution on the planet Earth that is charged, that has authorization to teach the lessons of Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and Noble Drew Ali. This is an interfaith, international venue that was designed to reach out to all of our brothers and sisters, the Asiatic nations all over the world. For even Obama in 2011 had to surrender and submit to the will of Allah. And he went into the world, into the Muslim world, told the entire world that he also knows civilization's debt to Islam. And we know from our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the great God Allah sent us the messenger to correct the error, to repair the injury, to go out into North America and to administrate the reparations that we have been seeing people call and ask for. It's a call for reparations. So the prophet came and manifested on the scene with a charge being ordained from the great God Allah. As above, so below as above. And we know Sheraphim and Seraphim is ruling and guarding the stations of the sun. and the mighty spirit of Allah and His solar system. And so this is why, you know, the prophet teaches us to know thyself. Allah and man is one. Man debased himself to gratify his lower self. Man tore himself away from the knowledge of his ancestors. Man forgot the face of his father and his mother. Father is the process of life. Mother is the sustainer of that process, the administration. That is salvation, right? So we here and we giving honors. We giving honors. And so I give honors to all that are present now and all that will be present, spiritually and physically. Um, um, we want to give you honors. And we want to give you love and gratitude. And so I give honors to everything that's pertaining to the upliftment of fallen humanity, Islam. And so with the subject matter being freedom, okay, let's take an examination at section 4. This is article 4 of the Constitution. Article 4, section 4 of the American Constitution, 1787 AD. This was the Constitution that was adopted. You know, what is a Constitution? Right? What does this Constitution mean, for the record? Okay. So take your pens out or get your Googles out and define Constitution. Define Constitution. And so before I read our divine Constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I'll read the definition of Constitution. The definition of Constitution is a body of fundamental principles or established precedents according to which a state or other organization is acknowledged to be governed. So it's a body of fundamental principles. What is the Moorish Americans' fundamental principles? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's a body of fundamental principles or established precedents. And that's according to the Oxford Dictionary. We go into Merriam Dictionary, Merriam-Webster's.com, the basic principles and laws of a nation, state, or social government that determine the powers and duties of the government and guarantee certain rights to the people in it. B, a written instrument embodying the rules of a political or social organization. 2A, the physical makeup of the individual, especially with respect to the health, strength, and appearance of a body. So that definition of was really leading you into the constitution of the body, like the setup, the system of the body. So it's a written, it's the basic principles and the system of governance. Which way it's gonna go? Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a road map. It's a map. It's a navigational piece for you to know. Okay, and it's written. So it's a written contract being expressed with terms and conditions, what you can and can't do, the powers, authorities, etc., the limitations. So the definition of Constitution is the basic principles and laws of a nation, state, or social group that determines the powers and duties of the government and guarantees certain rights to the people in it. And so and it's a written instrument embodying the rules, a written instrument embodying the rules of a political or social organization. And so we're taking a look at Article 4, Section 4 of the American Constitution for the United States. And it states that the United States, Article 4, Section 4, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. And so when we was just giving honors, and we talked about we made reference to the two flags combined, the Moorish American flag, and then we talked about the United States flag, which is an American flag also, because the flag or the banner, which represents the people or the institution of the people, was recognized or authorized to rise via its submission to the will of Allah. That's why I say of, belonging to America. We know America, North, South, Central, Mexico, the adjoining islands, is Moabite dominion. So I want to just put this out there. It's a lot of misconception around the word Moabite. It means officer. Moabite means officer. Why? You're on Moabite dominion. So that would make you a high ranking, that will afford you a high ranking status, or afford you the status of national. Why? Because you are an American by way of blood, birth, and descent. Birth and descent. This is the land of our ancestors. These are the dominions of the Moabites, right? So Moabite means officer. And the prophet made reference to that the Moorish Americans are not in any way interested in the following. He said, we as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate, to marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. So you got to understand. You got to understand that this is why we Moabites. And this is what they mean. They try to say, they try to use the term incest in reference to Moabites, but this is what they mean by incest. And the chapter from the Holy Quran, Circle 7 of the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, page 59 for the record. Chapter 48 for the record, entitled The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. Now, this pamphlet was published in 1927 AD by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali to raise our consciousness back to the highest plane of spirit life with our Father God, Allah. So the Moors, who were the ancient Moabites, right, and their dominion, right, and hold on, I don't want to jump all over the place. So I'm gonna stick to where I'm at. Chapter 48, page 59, Divine Instruction 6 from the Holy Prophet. Quote, we as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. So this is what is meant by being a Moabite. We're not interested or as the prophet said, end quote, we do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families because we desire to keep our bloodline pure. This was an ancient practice of the ancient Moabites, to keep the royal bloodline pure and not mixed. And so we have a lot of misconceptions about Moorish science being the divine and royal heirs of civilization on the planet Earth. And just as well as you see the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the kingdom of Morocco, the kingdom of Tunis, Tripoli, the kingdom of the kingdom of Great Britain, you have the Moorish Science Temple of America, which is the kingdom. This is a kingdom. This is actually an empire that hosts kingdoms, because you have the kingdom of Miles Ill, you have the kingdom of Harris Ill, you have the kingdom of such and such Bay, right? A nation is a family is a state is a nation. That's a kingdom. That's your kingdom. And so we're here to reconnect you to those, to that consciousness, to raise your consciousness, to activate your DNA, to help you remember to join back again with the families of nations. And so going back to dominion. Now, remember that we talked about dominion in our public session, in our public meeting not too long ago. And we know dominion means sovereignty. Dominion means landlord. Dominion means title to property. Dominion means private property, your estates, your authority, dominion. And so in chapter 47 from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, page 58, Divine Instructions 6 and 7, it states the following. And this is from the chapter called or entitled Egypt, the Capital Empire of the Dominion of Africa. So the prophet says, quote, Divine Instruction 6, quote, the Moabites from the land of Moab who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit Northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and Divine Instruction 7. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico, and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. And so we know that we at home, okay? We at home. We know that North, South, and Central America, Mexico, and the adjoining islands, Northeast, Southwest Africa, are the dominions of the ancient Moabites. And so the Moorish, according to Acts 6, in part, it states the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. And this comes from the Moorish Science Temple of America, Divine Constitution and Bylaws, okay? The Moorish Science Temple of America, Divine Constitution and Bylaws, okay? Salvation, our God, unity. And it is law and order in the Moorish Science Temple of America to always read the law. And in the law, it states the following, Acts 6, with us, and then this is in whole, not in part, in whole. With us, quote, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed so they may know Islam. So they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government and know they are not Negroes, Black folks, Islam. They are not Islam. Let me start over for you. I'm reading so fast. I'm so excited that you're here today that I'm just zooming through. And so let me slow down. Go back to Acts 6. Once again, we're reading from the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Okay. And maybe I can pull that up for you. Let me see if I can pull it up on the share screen here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Let's see. Okay. So what we're looking at is Article 4, Section 4. This is what I was reading from. You guys probably didn't catch it. I apologize if you didn't. Let me see here. Okay, so let me get in here. Let me see how I can do this. Let me see how I can do this. Let me see how I can do this. Okay, I don't see the option to go into my iCloud to pull it up for you. But okay, so we're here. Okay, so I don't see the option to. All right, so let's look at it. Where is Article 4? Let's go to Article 4. So the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion, right? And on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. So the executive would be the governor of a state. The legislature would be the Senate and the House of Representatives, right? So the House, the Senate House, and the Representative House. That's your legislature. So you got to understand, you got to understand this technology here. Without understanding this technology, you can get lost. And so it requires you to study. And in the same, so when you in Article 4, Section 2, it talks about the citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. And so what the prophets did was established our nation state, right? That had already existed at North America prior to the enslavement or the kidnapping or the war that took place against the Moors at North America and all around the world. And so let me go back to the prophet, as the prophet teaches us the following. With us, Act 6 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws of the Moorish Temple of America for the record and whole. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. So the Negro, black and colored thing was a scandal, was a scam, right? And so it pulled us out of the constitutional fold of government, which the prophet talks about so adamantly. And in that request, he gave out a divine plea and say, you know, help me bring my people back into the constitutional fold again, that they may be law abiders. So on the back of the questionnaire, let me see if I can pull it up. And so let's take a look at let's see here. All right, this is Cornell Law. So let's take a look at it. All debts, contracted, and engagements entered into before the adoption of the Constitution. So we're going to identify from the last Article 4, Section 4, where it talks about a republic. A republic shall be guaranteed. And we're going to talk about the republic, and we're going to look more into what does that mean when they say a republic. A republic means for the people, of the people, by the people, right? And that's constant. No matter, we do that over and over again. It's always about the people first, the people's will, right? What people? God's people. Identify those people. And so you got, and we're gonna identify the people to identify the republic, to identify the relationships between the parties. Because with that, you can understand what your birthrights are. You know, people, we say, we'll teach you your nationality and your divine creed, right? And nationality arises from birth, and we'll get to that. And some of the fundamental principles. And so, Article 6 is important. I know we, moving a little fast, but this is a accelerated class. So we only have a few minutes here. However, time never was when man was not, so focus. So Article 6 of the Constitution, of the American Constitution for the United States, 1787 AD, ratified in 1789. Okay, Article 6, all debts, contracted, and engagements entered into before the adoption. It's a key word there, before. So all debts contracted, and engagements, right? So these contracts that were established between nations, we're going to get to that, is in fact still in force. So all these contracts that we established before the adoption of the Constitution, and which contracts are they talking about? They're referring to the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Association, the Articles of Confederation, the 1787 Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the Moorish Empire, including but not limited to the Kingdom of Tripoli, the Kingdom of Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc., the Muslim world, right? And they tried to cover it up with barbarian treaties. And that's not true. That's just a term used to cover up the Moors. And it's another plot, another scheme to conceal our history and our birthrights. It's actually a birthright theft. And so going back, Article 6, all debts, right? Because how do you create a debt? You create a debt through a contract. So if I come to you and you loan me $15,000, and we write that down on paper, and we say, look, here are the terms and conditions. I'm going to give you 15,000 up front. You get 90 days. On 90 days, I'm expecting 15%. I'm expecting 100% of my money back and 15% on the loan, right? And if you default on that loan, if you're unable to pay me, here is the steps to cure, right? And that creates a contract, and that contract is a debt. It creates an obligation. The obligation means debt. Debt means obligations. All of it means contract. Somebody promised to do something. Somebody else promised to do something. So all debts, contracted, and engagements, it all is the same thing, contract. All contracts is what it's saying. All agreements is what it's saying. And you see the term engagements, engagement, like you engaged to your wife. I got engaged. We're going to get married. And so it's in reference to a marriage. What marriage? The United States, the uniting of nations, the uniting of states, the uniting of people. What people? We're going to identify the people that we're in reference to. We're going to get down to the specifics here so we can know who they're talking about, so we can know ourselves. The whole point and message from the prophet, it states the following on page 3: to know thyself and Allah. And we're going to get a better scope and insight on exactly who is Allah, exactly who are the contracts made with, who are these people. You know, where do I fit in this whole situation in the organization of government, right? As if I'm claiming to be an American in reference to a national, in reference to a citizen, right? How are you a member of these nations? How are you a member of the American nations? America is a continent, not a country. America is a continent that hosts nations. America has an indigenous population. What is called America today has a divine origin and a divine people. The same way China does, the same way all these other nations does have. Mexico, et cetera, et cetera. And they're all made up of different families. So all debts, Article 6, all debts, contracted, and engagements entered into before the adoption of the Constitution. So when you adopt a child, it's your child, but it's not your biological child. And so this biologically does not belong to the pale-skinned nations or the Christian nations of Europe or the pale-skinned nations of Europe, right? So when we say, well, who is the pale-skinned nation of Europe? Who are you talking about? The people you call white people, the people that's erroneously called white people. And then what the Moors do, the unconscious, African descendants do is say, or the unconscious descendants of Asiatics, they say, well, I'm black. You're like, well, they white, the white man. Well, wait a minute, stop. And so white means purity, purity means God, God means ruler of the land. And last time I checked, according to divine law, this is the dominions of the ancient Moabites, whom are the founders of the holy city of Mecca, whom are the founders and true possessors of the Moroccan Empire, northeast, southwest, including North, South, Central Americas, Mexico, and the adjoining islands. Pursuant to the Holy Quran, Circle 7, the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the Prophet, published in 1927 AD, chapter 47, divine instruction 6 through 7. According to the divine covenant, divine constitution and bylaws from the prophet, Act 6. Okay. And this is protected. This is preserved. This is reserved in the Constitution by the First Amendment, etc. Right? No government can interfere with your religious beliefs or the free exercise thereof, or the freedom of speech, or the freedom to assembly and petition the government. No, Congress can make no law respecting an establishment of religion. This is the highest authority on the land. Why? Because it's the truth. And the Constitution was made under God for liberty and justice for all. The Constitution derives from Muslim law and belongs to the Moors. They must submit to the will of Allah. Via Article 6 is the will of Allah. All debts, contracted, and engagements entered into before the adoption of the Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. So the United States is not just domestic, but it's also international. You know, we are world leaders. Okay. This melting pot possessed descendants of all nations, which makes this one of the most powerful, or the most powerfulest government on the planet Earth, because it has the diversity of citizenship more than any other nation on the planet Earth, any other government on the planet Earth. Here at North America, you can see people of all nationality participating in the upliftment of fallen humanity. And so all debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. And so when you go into the Confederation, the Articles of Confederation, the Articles of Association, the Declaration of Independence, 1774, when you go into the history and the contemporary history, and then you travel into the ancient history, and then you continue to travel, and then now all of a sudden you use the technology and realize it's a spaceship. It's an ability to teleport, right? It's a time traveling machine. We're traveling through time through our Holy Quran, Circle 7, because time never was when man was not. And so these secret lessons have been returned in the hands of the Muslims of America. Right? And so many misconceptions. This is Islam. When we're reading this, Islam is the religion of peace. This is this Constitution, the constitutional origin was founded on peace. It belonged to the Moors, and our principles are simple: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We're going to continue to go. And so the Constitution and laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, right? And so if you're in America, if you're born in America, if you're claiming to even be a descendant of slaves, why would you focus in on the law of the land in America, which is Constitution, which is a constitutional republic for the people, of the people? What people? Who people? We're going to get down to that, okay? Because American, by definition, according to Webster's Unabridged Dictionary 1921, American is Aboriginal Indigenous, in reference to the native, the original people of the land, the heirs to the estate in question. Now, all of a sudden, you got pyramids popping up all over the place. North, South, Central America, Mexico, adjoining islands, in the waters, on top of the waters, in the mountains, outside the mountains. In those pyramids are millions of years old, which predates Columbus and everybody else. Slavery, Columbus, and all that stuff combined, right? And so when you look at Islam, so when you look at the soil, the land, the landmarks, the assets on the land, and you see your faces, and these are facts. This is why you got pyramids on the back of the dollar, right? And on the other side, you got the Kemetic bird, the Kemetic eagle, with the shield of David, which is one of our ancestors, which is the father to Solomon, which that red flag with the 5-pointed green stars is seal of Solomon, dealing with the soul of man temple, the nearest place we can meet Allah in the heart. Now we're putting the kingdom of heaven back where it's supposed to be at. Heaven means happiness. This all starts on the inner workings of man. This all starts within. This is not external. So your happiness don't start when you die. Your happiness starts when you start to realize that Allah, the great God, is alive, and you are it. When you look in the mirror, you were made in the image and after the likeness. The nearest place you can meet Allah is in the heart. Allah and man is one. Man debased himself to gratify his lower self. He want to go and drink and smoke. He want to go and BSR. He want to go and waste time to make excuses. He or she, right? And so Islam is dealing with the individual responsibility, embracing that individual responsibility, using that to cultivate and nurture your spirit, to be strong, to be independent, to be upright, to be fearless, to be a leader. This is a leadership development program, right? We're here to develop masters. We're not here to develop weak citizens. We're here to develop industrious citizens, to teach them the things necessary to help make them become better citizens, industrious citizens. This is divine law. All members must keep in line, right? It's Acts 7, divine constitution and bylaw, which is our holy covenant, our divine covenant. It said all members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your children, and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious. See? And be industrious. This is about being industrious. Us as men have a great responsibility to be the heads of the household, to be the CEOs of the household. We have a lot of individual responsibility. We must support our wife and children. If we have other children, we must see to their support. We must not neglect our duties at home. Right? This is the real man. This is the real Moorish American men and women, to be upright, independent, fearless, right? Not being dependent upon another, having the ability to administrate your own salvation. This is why the prophet said, I brought you everything you need to save a nation, take it and save yourself. That was too much responsibility for the masses, obviously, because we're still dependent on a representative government. That's not even our government. You are the government, and you must represent yourself, present your claim, support that claim through the action, through the activity, right? It's thought, word, and deed, the great triune. It's not just words. It's thought, word, and deed. The thought comes before the word, and the action, the word come before the thought, come before the action and the word. So the thought is the cause of it all. Truth, right? Man is truth, okay? And we must remember the Constitution of man, okay? The divine Constitution. So it said that the Constitution and laws of the United States shall be made in pursuance thereof. Article 6, U.S. Constitution. And all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in this Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So what does that mean? When it says anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding, meaning that any laws created by any state, anybody, any group of people that's contrary to this Constitution is notwithstanding, meaning it is not law whatsoever. It is unenforceable. It does not have the force and the effect of law. It is illegal. So when they say it's unconstitutional, meaning it is illegal, it is unlawful. And to violate the Constitution is treason, because you pledged your allegiance and or you took an oath, right? You pledged your allegiance and or you took an oath, so it's treason. And the senators and the representatives before mentioned and the members of the several state legislature, your Senate, your House, right? And it just told you that up there. And it said all executive judicial officers, both of the United States, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office of or public trust under this Constitution. So that means everybody, the judges, the senators, the representatives, the members of the several state legislatures, the several states, everybody within the United States claiming to be a citizen or under the protection of the United States is hereby bound by oath and affirmation. Everybody must submit to the will of Allah. And this constitution was made under God. In God we trust. This is a Muslim government. Muslims are one who submits to the will of Allah. What is the will of God? What is the will of this governmental ordinance department? What is the will of God? Ye are all gods. The nearest place you can meet Allah is in the heart. So God's people, what is the will of the people? Right? The will of God's people is constitutional. This is the system in operation in accordance with natural law, in accordance with Mother Nature, to protect all rights for all people, right? Because you can exercise your rights. You have a right to, okay, so let's go there. Let's actually go there. And this is all this means. All this means is this. Okay? All this means is this, Mo. Boom. That's all this means. Right? Excuse me. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievance. I want to bring special attention to the first two clauses. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, right? So let me point your attention back to the Act 3 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 3 states, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are our holy and divine laws, these 5 divine principles. And in that, we have received the will of Allah for his people. Okay? And in that will, it teaches us, instructs us where our land is at. That's important. Chinese have land. The British have land that was given to them by God. The Koreans have land. And now when we come to black people, or so-called African, so-called black people, colored people, Ethiopians, etc., there is no land available that was issued by God. And that is an error. That is erroneous. That's fraudulent on its face and on the surface. So the people of God have returned. And everybody's been wearing our fezzes, our turbans. They have been living off our virtues. They have been living off our customs, our traditions, our principles, our systems of government. And our own have put us back in slavery by not continuously teaching, continuing to work. We ought to teach our people their nationality and their birthrights and divine creed, so they may know that they're part and parcel of this said government. What government? The Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world, which is our representative government, which is founded on these principles, because the government is the people. These are creatures of the Moorish American people. We are a united people. We are a nation. We're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. We are the original, and we'll get there, right? We'll get there, right? And so let's check it out. Let's go up in here and find out what Brother L was talking about, okay? Okay, according to founders.archives.gov, that's founders.archive.gov. We're going to affirm what Prophet Noble Drew Ali has already brought to the table. And we're coming on the ending of our time too. So this is part one. Part one will be tomorrow at the same time, 9 o'clock. And we'll pick up where we left off. We got about 10 minutes or so. We're supposed to be done at 10, but I'll do an extra 10 minutes, extra 15 minutes or so, to the best of my ability, since we started kind of off. But we'll take a look at it, right? From George Washington to the city Muhammad, December the 1st, 1789. So you gotta understand, you know what? We just read, right? And this is 1789.
To Sidi Mohammed, New York, December 1st, 1789, since the date of the letter, which the late Congress by their President, addressed to your Imperial Majesty, the United States of America have thought proper to change their government, and to institute a new one, agreeable to the Constitution, of which I have the honor of herewith enclosing a copy, the time necessarily employed in.
So,
addressed to your Imperial Majesty, the United States of America have thought proper to change their government, and to institute a new one, agreeable to the Constitution, of which I have the honor of here.
Okay.
This arduous task, and the derangements occasioned by so great, though peaceable a revolution, will apologize, and account for your Majesty's not having received those regular advices, and marks of attention, from the United States, which the friendship and magnanimity of your conduct towards them afforded reason to expect. The United States, having unanimously appointed me to the supreme executive authority in this nation, your Majesty's letter of the August 17, 1788, which, by reason of the dissolution of the late government, remained unanswered, has been delivered to me. One, I have also received the letters which your Imperial Majesty has been so kind as to write, in favor of the United States, to the Bashahs of Tunis and Tripoli too, and I present to you the sincere acknowledgments and thanks of the United States for this important mark of your friendship for them. We greatly regret that the hostile disposition of those regencies towards this nation, who have never injured them, is not to be removed on terms in our power to comply with. Within our territories there are no mines either of gold or silver, and this young nation, just recovering from the waste and desolation of a long war, have not, as yet, had time to acquire riches by agriculture and commerce. But our soil is bountiful, and our people industrious, and we have reason to flatter ourselves that we shall gradually become useful to our friends. The encouragement which your Majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions, the punctuality with which you have caused the treaty with us to be observed, and the just and generous measures taken, in the case of Captain Proctor, made a deep impression on the United States, and confirm their respect for, and attachment to your Imperial Majesty. 3. It gives me pleasure to have this opportunity of assuring your Majesty that, while I remain at the head of this nation, I shall not cease to promote every measure that may conduce to the friendship and harmony, which so happily subsist between your empire and them, and shall esteem myself happy in every occasion of convincing your Majesty of the high sense, which in common with the whole nation, I entertain of the magnanimity, wisdom, and benevolence of your Majesty. In the course of the approaching winter, The national legislature, which is called by the former name of Congress, will assemble, and I shall take care that nothing be omitted that may be necessary to cause the correspondence between our countries to be maintained and conducted in a manner agreeable to your Majesty, and satisfactory to all the parties concerned in it. May the Almighty bless your Imperial Majesty, our great and magnanimous friend, with his constant guidance and protection. Written at the city of New York the 1st day of December 1789. Go Washington DSO 1992. By the Forbes magazine collection.
Okay, so now there you have it. So you can understand what's happening here. You own the Moroccan Empire. This is the Moabite dominions. This is the land of the Moors. Okay, so let's go here. Right? So let's look at this. No, let's look at the prologue where it says, "Know thyself and thy Father God Allah." It says, I'm going to skip past the couple paragraphs here. I'm going to go right out. I'm going to try to find, go right into, I'm going right into the last two paragraphs here. Let me highlight it. Right here. Okay. It's going to point out some very interesting facts. So what was the reason I just put that letter from George Washington to the Sultan of Morocco, the Emperor of Morocco? So you can understand what gave me authorization to read that. What had my soul seek that information, seek that affirmation? What made my soul gravitate to that piece of literature, historical, political, world history, this world history now, these facts, world history? What made me go there? Prophet Noble Jew Ali. All these lessons come from my Holy Quran, Circle 7, of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And so let's examine what page 3, Know Thyself, says. It says, "The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity, as I am a prophet and the servant is worthy of his hire, you can receive this pamphlet at expense." So if you want to donate, it's Cash App, $MST813. Cash App, $MST813. Now, the reasons these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed these secrets. And for the first time in ages have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America. All authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet. So now you know, so two things. One thing I want to point out, two things. Now you know, one, why you didn't know. Two, what went on, what political events went on in 1927 AD. What political events took place around the world in 1927 AD. Okay, so we'll come back to that maybe in another episode so we can better comprehend what we're dealing with as Muslims. And so let's keep going. By the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Now, it says the industrious acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, Hammonites, Canaanites who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. And later, because Egypt was the capital empire of the dominion of Africa, which was us, still us. This is why you got pyramids on the back of the dollar. And this is why we keep, it's like, well, why I don't need a license to drive? Because I already have a license. License means permission. We received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt, and there's pyramids here, older than the ones over in the Eastern Hemisphere. So we've been on our soil in position of authority. These are our dominions. And so anyway, let me keep going. Okay, so in later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms are called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. So this is why I just read the letter from George Washington to the Sultan of Morocco, because I'm dealing with Constitution. So in the Constitution, in Article 6, it stated that the Constitution was adopted. So I went into finding out the origin and where the Constitution come from, and I learned that the Constitution comes from the Moors. And in the first paragraph, it's going to tell you. It says, since the date of the letter which the late Congress by their president addressed to the Imperial Majesty, the United States of America have thought proper. It's the cause of it all, right? You got to go back to the thought. The thought is the cause of it all. So the United States of America have thought proper to change their government and to institute a new one, agreeable to what, y'all? The Constitution, of which I have the honor of herewith enclosing a copy, the time necessarily employed in this arduous task, and the arrangements occasioned by so great, though peaceable a revolution, will apologize and account for your majesty not having received those regular advices and marks of attention, meaning money, because they have this lease agreement. You got to pay. It's like paying rent from the United States, and you have a lease. You got to pay, security agreement, and what you call a security deposit, and you got to sign this contract. And marks of attention from the United States, which the friendship and magnanimity of your conduct, your actions towards them afforded reason to expect. So make no mistake about it. The Constitution, they had to form their government agreeable to the constitutional law. So they had to form their government agreeable to the Constitution. Now, well, Brother Ill, why you say that these are our lands? Okay, no problem. Here in this paragraph, right? Here in this paragraph, what do it say? It says, the encouragement of which your majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions. Okay. Then they make reference to the treaty, the punctuality of which you have caused the treaty with us to be observed. They got to obey now, right? So why do the treaty has to be observed? Because they're on our dominions. We allow them, we let them. Okay, so let's go back up. Let's go back up. I want to make sure this makes sense to you. Okay, here. So they're explaining, George Washington explaining, number one, the reason why they late. Right? They late. They late with payment and they late with their response. They're late. Why are you late? And he said, look, man, we was late because we was fighting this. We had to change up. We in reorganization. We bankrupt. We had to change up the Islam. We had to change our government. So it says, since the date of the letter. So since the date you sent it to us, which the late Congress had got by their president, addressed to your Imperial Majesty, the United States of America have thought proper to change their government. So since they last response from the late Congress and their president, okay, this is the first letter that been issued since the last Congress and their president, by their president, because presidents deal with all treaties and foreign relations. That's their job according to the Constitution. It says, so, the United States of America have thought proper to change their government and institute a new one agreeable to the Constitution. Oh my goodness, right? So they let them know, like, look, my bad. It's been a lot going on. We had to go through revolution. We had to switch some stuff up. And we had to make sure that our institution our government, our management, our system was set up agreeable in accordance with Constitution. And we know in Article 6, the Constitution was adopted. So who are the original people? Where did our Constitution come from? Let's let you know where it come from. Because the Moors say, hey, look, hey, you can come over here and do business, right? We'll bring you out of slavery, out of Great Britain's taxation system, right? We'll bring you over here under our umbrella, but you got to set your system up agreeable to the Constitution, the constitutional law, which is the law of the land, right? And then, just so we're not confused about, right? Just so we're not confused about that, is letting you know, look, we set up we got the government set up correctly. We apologize for not hitting y'all up in a timely fashion. But look, this is what's happened. This is what's going on. This is where we headed. You know, our soil is bountiful. Our people are industrious. And we have reason to flatter ourselves that we shall gradually become useful to our friends. Right? And say, hey, look, man, give me an opportunity. We need some credit. They was thanking us for the credit. We the grantors. We gave them partial. We credited them. We credited their account. Right? Here were our terms and conditions. Set your system up or set your company up. Organize the company according to the Constitution. Organize. You cannot come over here with folly and games. That is not going to be allowed. You must submit to the will of Allah. And how is that expressed? In the Constitution. Right? And it said, the encouragements of which your majesty have been pleased generously to give to our commerce. So commerce in reference to their business. So their companies were set up. Their companies were set up. Washington, Maryland. These were companies. These were corporations. We set up a business contract. Right? And we're going to grant them citizenship. And so in order to grant you citizenship on American or Moorish soil, on Moorish American soil, you must comply with the terms and conditions of the constitutional laws. And the Constitution is this basic principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. For the people, of the people, by the people. That's why the prophet said, if I'm a prophet, I'm a servant. A king is queen, emperor is no more than a servant of the people. Okay? Of God. God is us, the people. We are gods. God means ruler of the land, and you are on your dominions. Okay? And so let's look at it here. Okay? And so page 3, and so it's clear that you are on your dominions. This is 1789. We're in 2020, allegedly. So it's clear. Let's be clear. We authorized their organizations to set up and to be styled as the United States and to be governed under the Constitution on our dominions: North, South, Central Americas, Mexico, the adjoining islands, Northwest, Southwest, Africa, including Egypt and all that you call the Middle East, Asia, Lower, Minor, all that's us, Europe, etc. These are facts. Okay, let's go to the facts. Let's go to the facts, okay? Let's go to the facts here. So, according to Yale Law School, that's avalon.law.yale.edu. avalon.law.yale.edu. Okay, and let's just go here. That's a misnomer calling us barbarians. And so you guys can see So you guys can see the series of treaties. And so, like the prophet said, we built these kingdoms: Morocco, Algeria, Tripoli, Tunis, right? We built these kingdoms. These are our kingdoms. These are not their kingdoms. Okay. It's been a massive birthright theft all over the world. And when it comes to the Moorish, okay, all over the world. And these kingdoms are here. The territories are here. And so let's examine this treaty. Right? And this treaty was conducted in, as you can see the timeline, between 1786 and 1816. This is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship signed at Tripoli, November 4th, 1796. So the letter we just read was 1789. The Constitution was written in delivered in 1787. It was ratified in 1789, right? This was done in 1795, November 4th. And the treaties series, these proceedings took place between 1786 and 1816. So let's take an examination of Article 10, Article 11. And let's look at it. And what do it say? As the government of the United States is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion, as it has in itself no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of Muslim men, and as the said states never have entered into any war or act of hostility against any Mohammedan nation. It is declared by the parties that no pretext arising from religious opinion shall ever produce an interruption of the harmony existing between the two countries. So we got to understand, you got Christian nations, you got Muslim nations, you got Buddha nations, you got nations that constitutions are their religious laws. Our Holy Quran dictates our actions. That's our constitution. This is the divine constitution and bylaws. And so a Christian nation cannot inflict its customs upon a Muslim nation. You got to have balance here. We got to be able to coexist in this marriage without enslaving one another. But let's be clear, as the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion, as it has in itself no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of Muslim men, and as the said states have never entered into any war or act of hostility against any Mohammedan nation. The Moorish Science Temple of America derives its power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad. But let's take a look at this. So now we know, number one, we at home. Number two, the Constitution comes from us. Number three, the government is not founded on the Christian religion, and it's founded on the science of Islamism. It's Muslim law. This is why George Washington said, "Hey, man, we ready to go. We set everything up in accordance with the terms and conditions." So now let's go back. Let's go back to the main menu here. Right? And so here's the first treaty. And it gives us the information. It's the treaty with Morocco, and this is not the kingdom. This is the empire during this time, 28 and July 15th, 1786. And it tells you right out in the opener. Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Matter of fact, let's go through it.
New York. DFNNCLB, DLCGW copy DNA RG59. Sidi Mohammed d. 1790, came to the throne of Morocco around 1757. One of the most enlightened of Morocco's 18th-century rulers, he was concerned with expanding his country's commerce with other nations. Less successful were his attempts to mitigate Morocco's draconian system of justice. As early as the 1770s, Sidi Mohammed had made friendly overtures to the United States, although he was discouraged by the failure of the Continental Congress to respond. By 1786, however, he had signed a liberal treaty of friendship with the United States. 1. DNA PCC Item 88-2. Copies of both of these letters were included in Sidi Mohammed's letter to Congress of August 17, 1788. The letter to the Bey of Tunis has not been found, but an Italian translation of the letter to the Basha of Tripoli is in DNA PCC Item 88-3. For the case of Captain Proctor, see Giuseppe Chiap's letter of July 18, 1789. Permanent link. What's this? https://founders.archives.gov/documents/Washington/05 April 2, 251. Note: the annotations to this document and any other modern editorial content are copyright sign. The Rector and Visitors of the University of Virginia. All rights reserved. Back to top. From George Washington to Sidi Mohammed.
Hold on.
December 1st, 1789. Author Washington, George
Hold on. I want them to read this right here. Let me see, can I get them on here?
recipient, Sidi Mohammed date.
Okay.
Period. The treaty was sealed.
All right, so I don't know how to get them to, it'd have been nice to have.
At Morocco with. The additional article was certified English translations of the treaty, and of the additional article were incorporated in a document signed. Treaty and additional article ratified by the United States, July. Ship signals agreement not specifically included in the ratification and not proclaimed, but copies ordered by Congress July 23, 1787, to be sent to the executives of the states, Secret Journals of Congress IV. 869, but see the notes as to this reference certified translation of the treaty, and of the additional article, with approval by Jefferson and Adams to all persons to whom these presents shall come or be made known, whereas the United States of America and Congress assembled by their commission bearing date the 12th day of May 1784 thought proper to constitute John Adams, Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson their ministers plenipotentiary, giving to them or a majority of them full powers to confer, treat and negotiate with the ambassador, minister, or commissioner of His Majesty the Emperor of Morocco concerning a treaty of amity and commerce, to make and receive propositions for such treaty and to conclude and sign the same, transmitting it to the United States and Congress assembled for their final ratification, and by one other commission bearing date the 11th day of March 1785 did further empower the said ministers plenipotentiary or a majority of them, by writing under the hands and seals to appoint such agent in the said business as they might think proper with authority under the directions and instructions of the said ministers to commence and prosecute the said negotiations and conferences for the said treaty, provided that the said treaty should be signed by the said ministers, and whereas we the said John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, two of the said ministers plenipotentiary, the said Benjamin Franklin being absent, by writing under the hand and seal of the said John Adams at London October the 5th, 1785, and of the said Thomas Jefferson at Paris October the 11th of the same year, did appoint Thomas Barclay, agent in the business aforesaid, giving him the powers therein, which by the said second commission we were authorized to give, and the said Thomas Barclay in pursuance thereof hath arranged articles for a treaty of amity and commerce between the United States of America and His Majesty the Emperor of Morocco, which articles written in the Arabic language, confirmed by His said Majesty the Emperor of Morocco and sealed with his royal seal, being translated into the language of the said United States of America, together with the attestations thereto annexed are in the following words, to wit.
Now, so, hold on.
In the name of Almighty God, this is a treaty of peace and friendship established between us and the United States of America, which is confirmed, in which we have ordered to be written in this book and sealed with our royal seal at our court of Morocco on the 25th day of the blessed month of Shaban, in the year 1200, trusting in God it will remain permanent.
So, well, unfortunately, you all, thank you for visiting us today. We will have part 2 broadcast tomorrow. We will have a part two. We're going to pick up where we left off. Thank you guys. You were great. I truly appreciate it. I pray that some of the information helps with correcting some concepts. And we just kind of just introduction here. This is an introduction. We haven't really got down to the application. And so we're headed that way, but we got to build the foundation first of understanding, and enlightenment. So I'll take us out with the Moorish American prayer. Islam. I actually take us out with the divine warning, then prayer. So January 15, 1929, Prophet warns all Muslims, governor ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. Let me get us out of here. Islam, how y'all feeling today? So I hope y'all enjoyed. Islam. And so, as I was saying, remember your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their cards, buttons, seats, wearing their turbans or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet and noble Jew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's weird. So, a holy covenant of the Asiatic nation. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given ye suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his cares be continued to you all and your love to each other. Peace. You all enjoy your day.